It's Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. Let me start this video out today by saying this. We got very, very serious problems, and we've got bigger problems ahead. I was talking to a very, very good friend of mine today, Matt, and he said, this is what happens when you flood the globe with digital dollars. We are beginning now to see the repercussions from all this money printing, the quantitative easing, the 0% interest rates, the artificial injections. As I said in the past, ladies and gentlemen, there's a price to pay for all this easy money. And I'm not here to scare people. I don't need to scare people. People are getting scared right now because if they went to the grocery store today, they're getting scared. If they went to go look at an apartment today and saw the rent for that apartment, they're getting scared. If they went to go shop for a used vehicle today, they're getting scared. If they filled up their car today, they're getting scared because they are getting priced out of this economy. Markets should have absolutely crashed today on the news of this inflation. I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm not here to scare you. I'm doing the best that I can to wake you up, but I truly do believe that we are going to be heading into a very, very serious depression here in the United States of America. Dow drops 240 points, NASDAQ falls 1.7% after hot inflation data drives bond yield spike. Again, I think these markets should have sold off. I think we should have really seen these markets down 4,000 points today on the news we received with this inflation data. So you know that these markets are very, very manipulated. I'm sure the Fed was buying everything it could today to keep it propped up, held up. Tomorrow will be different. I'm curious, comment down below. What do you think? What are your expectations in these markets tomorrow? Do they bounce back, or do we see more pain in the markets tomorrow? This is getting harder and harder to cover up, ladies and gentlemen, because every day people are beginning to feel the pain. They're seeing the prices of everything going up. U.S. consumer prices jumped 6.2% in October, the biggest inflation surge in more than 30 years. And it's soaring at the fastest rate in 40 years. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't see it slowing down, do you? The consumer price index surged 6.2% from a year ago in October, the most since December 1990. Energy, shelter, and vehicle costs led the way. These increases have wiped out wage increases. You know, everybody was happy to get $15. We keep hearing that everything is great because people are making more money than ever. In reality, they're making a lot less money. In fact, they're making probably less money that they ever have made. And we are seeing wages eaten alive by this inflation. People are making less money than they were in the 1970s, ladies and gentlemen, when you account for inflation. The dollar is getting eaten up, and it's going to continue to get eaten up until we see interest rates rise, and that's coming. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to get back to this article. These increases, as I've said, have wiped out wages. Fuel oil prices up 12.3% for the month, 59.1% over the past year. I don't need to scare anybody. If this doesn't scare you right now, right here with what I'm telling you, then you know you're probably in the top 1% and this doesn't faze you. But if you're in the bottom 90%, you're getting a little nervous every time you go to the gas station. You're getting a little nervous every time you go to the grocery store. You're getting nervous anytime you have to purchase a product because it continues to go up, up, and up. You know, I watch these videos and people will be like, oh yeah, you know, a box of cookies is $1 more, whippy-do. See, the problem is though, the box of cookies is $1 more, the loaf of bread's $1 more, the steak, you know, went up $5, $6 a pound. The cold cuts, you know, went up $2, $3 a pound. The flour, sugar went up. You know, your Pepsi, your cola, your sodas all went up. Everything is going up. So when a family of 4 goes to the grocery store, it's not just the box of cookies that went up. Everything they're putting in the shopping cart is going up, and it's $1 here. It's 25 cents there. It's $2 there. It's 75 cents there. It's a nickel there, a dime there. And it's adding up into a sizable amount when you go to the cash register. Energy, shelter, and vehicle costs led the way. These increases have wiped out wage increases, as I've said. And you got to put gasoline in the car. And when you look at the price of a used vehicle, the price of a new vehicle, and the price now that it costs to put gasoline in that car, and it's up 59.1% over a year, unbelievable. Used vehicle prices rose 2.5% for the month and 26.4% so far for the year. Food prices bounced up 0.9% and 5.3% respectively. Shelter cost up 0.5% for the month and now up 3.5% for the year-over-year basis. And I believe that these numbers that we're getting, I believe that these numbers are very manipulated. I think that these numbers are very, very conservative. I think these numbers should be much, much higher. You know it, I know it. And, you know, they're telling us that, you know, inflation's 5.4%, it's transitory. We all knew it was much more than 5.4%. It was like 13.5% and climbing. We knew it wasn't going to be transitory. It's not transitory. And people are beginning to realize that, and they're beginning to get nervous. They're getting concerned, and they should be. Inflation has taken away all wage gains for workers and then some. Real average hourly earnings, when accounting for inflation, actually decreased 0.5% for the month. CNN, Americans have never been in so much debt. This is a real concerning combination when you have inflation increasing like this with the amount of debt that we're seeing households now carry. Inflation is crushing the middle class, ladies and gentlemen. Household debt, $15.24 trillion. Mortgage balances rose by $230 billion and stood at $10.67 trillion. That's almost $11 trillion. Credit card balances have increased by $17 billion last month. People over the summer just splurging, no problem, continuing to spend, got to go to the concert, got to go to Vegas. This is going to be a nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. Splurging with credit cards. I'm telling you, the roosters are coming home to roost. The piper will be paid, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope that you're not one of these people who just for the past year just went on a long vacation collecting the benefit checks and the stimmies and taking trips and buying cars and buying toys and big screens and just squandering your money while you didn't pay your landlord. These people are going to suffer the worst consequences of them all. Soaring home and auto prices have boosted loan balances for buyers. Loan balances on steroids, ladies and gentlemen. The average household now in America, their loan balances are on steroids. They were acquiring debt at the worst possible time. Acquiring debt right before an economic tsunami. And these people are going to be, I mean, they're not going to know what to do. They're going to have no way to fight what is coming. They're going to be wiped out, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be economic casualties of this collapse. And this collapse is going to turn into one of the greatest, if not greatest, depressions the world has ever seen. People are completely unprepared for the coming events. They are debt slaves, and debt slaves lose. Debt slaves get wiped out. Debt slaves don't have the ability to prosper during a Great Depression or an economic collapse. Debt slaves, boy, words really can't explain what is going to happen to these people. But we have so many debt slaves now, and it is going to be so bad. This thing's going to be catastrophic, and it's going to be bad for everybody. But if you are drowning in debt and you're a debt slave, as we enter what we're going to enter, it is going to be brutal for these people. It really is. Bloomberg. Yellen says Fed wouldn't allow repeat of 1970s level inflation. She said Federal Reserve will act if needed to prevent a repeat of the 1970s. They have caused this mess, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when you leave interest rates too low for too long. This is what happens when you juice markets. This is what happens when you allow corporate buybacks. This is what happens when you allow zombie corporations to exist. This is what happens when you do massive bailouts for corporations and airlines, etc. This is what happens when you manipulate markets. They are in enormous trouble at this point. They are stuck. They're going to have to make some very, very serious decisions here in the months ahead. And as I've said now for months, watch out, interest rates are going to go up. I don't think they're going to go up this year. They're going up next year for sure, because they're going to have to do something about this inflation. Inflation is going to continue to soar, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. food banks struggle to feed hungry amid surging prices. This is going to be another problem. As people are being evicted, people are being put out in the streets, as people are losing jobs, as people are going to default on their homes. Look, this is going to be something we have never seen before. We are in very, very deep waters here. And if you are not prepared to deal with what's coming, if you don't have food, water, hard assets, security, if you don't have a mental mindset, if you don't have a plan, if you're not working on it right now, you are going to be in a world of trouble. But getting back to this article, U.S. food banks struggle to feed hungry amid surging home prices. This was on the AP. I watched a video yesterday, and it's a channel called Bear Boom Bust. And I've watched dozens of this guy's videos over the years. My mom is a big fan of Bear Boom and Bust. And he did a video, I believe it was yesterday, down in San Diego, showing homeless encampments in San Diego. And I was reading this article today, and I thought back to that video that I watched yesterday. Good channel, check it out. But we're going to see more people, more families living in these homeless encampments, more people reliant on food. And families right now are reeling from uncertainty. U.S. food banks, already dealing with increased demand from families, now face a new challenge: surging food prices and supply chain issues. It's going to be a big problem. The higher cost and limited availability means some families may get smaller servings or substitutions. So maybe they don't get a hamburger, they get a peanut butter sandwich. And we're going to see millions more people dependent on these services. And as the money runs out, as the supply chains break down, as food prices soar, I mean, this whole thing is a recipe for disaster, and you need to be getting ready, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there are people right now on the streets that have no way out. And there's going to be more people hitting the streets tomorrow, more people hitting the streets next week. You know, I've made these videos for a few years now, and we always go out and try to feed the homeless and their pets and help them out. And there's a lot of people out there that would judge them, make fun of them. Now people are in a predicament now that they're facing homelessness. They're getting evicted out of their apartments. They may be foreclosed on in their home. They don't have family members or a church to fall back on. They've lost a job. What do? They're now looking into the abyss here of being homeless. And so as I make this video today, let's not judge. We can observe, okay? But there's too many people out there that judge. Well, those people, you know, did this. They deserve that. You know, they deserve where they're at. That could never happen to me. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, and I know, most of this country is 1, 2, maybe 3 paychecks away from hitting the streets if they don't have a family or a church, okay? Most people, 80% of this country, have been living paycheck to paycheck. most of this country is one paycheck away from being in very, very big trouble. Nothing's changed. Now reality is setting in, and people who thought that they were above this, could never happen to them, made fun, judged, now they may be a victim of homelessness. U.S. households face biggest surge in electricity costs since 2009. The problems just keep piling up. Biggest jump in energy cost in 12 years, ladies and gentlemen. So we're looking at gas prices, propane, electricity. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. While the inflation is running out of control, and while we're watching this economy absolutely in a stage I've never ever seen it. You know, we all have been thinking, you know, over the last couple years. That's why you've been preparing. That's why I've been preparing. Bubbles aren't made overnight, and I've been making these videos for about 3 years now. And I learned a valuable lesson in 2008, and I knew that things were not fixed, and I knew that things would just continue to get worse as they kick the can down the road. And here we are. And the problems continue to mount. And we are seeing millions of people now hurting, and they're going to face reality. And, you know, everybody just expects that, you know, a bubble will just, you know, last for 6 months and then pop and everything will be okay. Bubbles like this take years. And this one is going to be monumental. This one will be historic because it's gotten so big, so inflated. But people just thought, well, it should have bursted years ago. So, you know, you just keep repeating the same message. Everything today I'm talking about, everything, all this data just came out within the last 24 hours. So everything I'm telling you is hot off the presses. But in regards to bubbles, they can take years. But once they pop, it takes minutes and the air's out, okay? So, but so many people just think nothing can happen because the bubble didn't pop last week, last month, or last year. These people are in la la land, and these people are going to learn a very, very tragic lesson. And so many people with greed in these markets, believing that they cannot collapse, the greed that these people have, they're going to lose. The masses always lose, and they're going to lose right here. The smart money is getting out. The smart money will get in after the crash. The first Fed rate hike is now expected as early as July following the hot CPI data. This on CNBC today. I believe it will be much sooner than July. This will be, I believe, in my opinion, the start of a depression. And how bad that depression gets, nobody knows at this point. I think it's going to be probably the worst depression in history. But the first rate hike, according to CNBC, is now expected as early as July following the hot CPI. Let me know what you think. Many of you out there may think that there will be no rate hike. I do believe that there will be a rate hike. I believe there will be more than one because they're going to be forced to do it. And yes, that is going to bring on market collapse, a market crash. It will collapse the housing market. It is going to bring in a depression, no doubt about it. But they cannot allow the inflation to get to a point where it's absolutely runaway out of control. So they will raise rates. And a lot of people believe that that can't happen. Well, if you believe it can't happen, you just keep your money in these markets. You keep throwing all your money in your 401k, your money markets, keep investing in the stock market. Me personally, I'm going to do what I keep doing. I'm going to keep buying gold. I'm going to buy some silver. I'm going to keep putting some cash away. Even though cash, is being absolutely destroyed by inflation, I do believe you're going to need it to jump back in these markets when the sales arrive. So you are paying a bit of a premium right now with inflation, but I think you'll be happy that you do have some cash to get back in these markets when they get crushed. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless every one of you. Share this video. Give it a thumbs up, and make sure that if you're not subscribed, that you subscribe to this channel. Have a phenomenal evening, and I look forward to talking with all of you very, very, very soon.